Hey legends, grab your helmets. Today, you are going to discover what really hides behind the Grand Prix circuits of Formula One. We all love the speed, the overtakes, and the drama, but we often forget that a track is not just asphalt. It is an architectural marvel, a political statement, and a symbol of national pride. Every circuit is a time capsule, holding stories of heroes, scandals, and engineering brilliance. Today, we are going to take a journey through the next 4 Grand Prix of the season and uncover their secrets. We will see how a legend was reborn in Singapore, how the United States built its motorsport home from scratch, how Mexico intertwined the spirit of the stadium into its racetrack, and why Brazil remains the soul of racing. If you enjoy this video, please show your support with a like and a subscription, and I will be ready to create a full series covering every track on the F1 calendar. But for now, let's start with the next 4 arenas. The first on our list is Singapore. The modern night Grand Prix is not just a show. It is the revival of a legend that began during the nation's formative years. In the early 1960s, when Singapore was fighting for independence, the authorities used motorsport as a way to show the world we were a modern, dynamic nation. That is how the Thompson Road Circuit was born. It was an extreme 4.8-kilometer loop made out of ordinary city streets. There were no safety zones, only barriers, ditches, and jungle. The circuit was a real beast, and its sections earned ominous names like the Hump, where cars literally lifted off the ground, Devil's Bend, and the infamous Martyr Mile. These races made Singapore the center of motorsport in Southeast Asia, but the cost was high. Speeds were climbing, while safety remained the same. In 1973, the races were canceled. Singapore was not unique in its danger, but its closure became part of a worldwide trend toward improving safety. 3 decades later, Singapore decided to return to F1. Key figures, including the Singaporean government agency and businessman Ong Beng Seng, owner of Hotel Properties Limited, reached an agreement with Bernie Ecclestone. Their goal was ambitious, not just to host a race, but to create a spectacle unlike anything else. The idea of a night race, originating from Bernie Ecclestone and supported by Singaporean authorities, was a marketing and logistical genius. This decision delivered a triple win. First, primetime television for Europe. A race held at night in Asia perfectly fit the European daytime schedule, the key market for Formula One. It instantly gave Singapore maximum viewership, something daytime Asian races could not achieve. Second, the visual aesthetic. The night city, its skyscrapers reflecting in the bay waters, became the perfect backdrop for drama. This was not just a race, it was cinematic, a Blade Runner-style spectacle. Third, historical uniqueness. Singapore became the first night race in Formula One history, permanently securing its status as an innovator. This is how the Marina Bay Circuit came to be. The design, initially proposed by Herman Tilke, was refined and integrated into the heart of the city. Its signature feature was the lighting. Around 1,600 floodlights with a total of 3 million watts were installed to create 3,000 lux of illumination, 4 times brighter than a football stadium. The first race in 2008 immediately became legendary. It was accompanied by the Crashgate scandal, revealing that Nelson Piquet Jr.'s crash was orchestrated to help Fernando Alonso win. Today, Singapore is a test of patience, heat, and humidity. Drivers lose up to 4 kilograms during the race. But the real enemy is the dirty air. Modern cars, especially with the ground effect concept after 2022, are incredibly sensitive to the loss of downforce. On such a slow and bumpy street circuit, losing aerodynamic grip behind another car is massive. Drivers report almost complete loss of traction in high-speed turns if they follow closely. Overtaking here is extremely difficult, and the DRS zone leading to Turn 7 is less effective than on other tracks. That is why qualifying is so crucial here. Starting at the front gives a chance for clean air and the opportunity to pull away while the rest fight in the train. And to add to the challenge, this is the longest Grand Prix of the season by time. Races often exceed 2 hours, approaching the maximum limit, making it a true physical and technical ordeal for drivers and machinery. The Singapore Grand Prix always falls in the latter half of the season, when tension in the championship is at its peak. Moreover, It takes place in conditions that cannot be fully replicated in simulators. The heat, the humidity, and the tight walls make it a real test of endurance. For the teams, it is also a strategic challenge. The high probability of a safety car forces flexible tactics. That is why many say if a driver dominates in Singapore, they are ready for the final championship battle. The next stop is the United States, a country that Formula One has been trying to conquer for decades. The US is a huge market, but F1 struggled to find a permanent home. There were temporary stops in Phoenix, Detroit, and the legendary Indianapolis did not quite suit European-style cars. The breakthrough came thanks to businessman Tavo Helmond and architect Herman Tilke. They decided that America needed a track built specifically for Formula One, not the other way around. Austin, Texas was chosen, and in 2012, the Circuit of the Americas, or COTA, opened. The 5.5-kilometer track was designed as a compilation of the best elements from global circuits. The fast S-shaped turns in Sector 1 were inspired by Maggots and Beckett's in Silverstone, a direct homage that demands perfect rhythm and immense trust in the car. The technical corners at the end resemble Suzuka, but the signature of COTA is its unique first corner. It is a steep 41-meter climb immediately after the start, forcing drivers to brake blind without seeing the apex. The elevation change exceeds 20 meters. This creates unique opportunities for overtaking at the start and makes the race unpredictable. If the first corner is the calling card, the real battle at COTA unfolds in the technical Sector 2. Turns 12 through 15 are a series of low-speed hairpins and transitions that drain the tires completely. The right front tire works to its limits, and any deviation in trajectory on exit costs precious kilometers per hour down the following straight. And we cannot forget the bumps. COTA is one of the roughest tracks due to its shifting clay subsoil. Teams must find a compromise between stiff suspension for stability in fast corners and softer settings to absorb the bumps. This is a massive challenge for engineers, directly affecting the aerodynamic balance of the car. The first race in 2012 was a triumph, attracting around 117,000 spectators. Lewis Hamilton took the victory. COTA became the true home for F1 in the United States. Over the years, it turned into a festival, attracting top musical performers and creating an atmosphere different from classic European races. Most importantly, COTA proved that America was ready for F1, paving the way for new, even glitzier races in Miami and Las Vegas. Yet Austin remains the original, the track that truly brought F1 back to the continent. Our next stop is Mexico, and the story of this track is closely tied to a national tragedy and a remarkable revival. The circuit is named after the Rodriguez brothers, Ricardo and Pedro, two of the greatest drivers in the country's history. The track was built in 1962 and immediately joined the F1 calendar, but it was incredibly dangerous. Its most famous and perilous section was the Peraltada, a long, high-speed banked corner. It was there in 1962 that Ricardo Rodriguez tragically lost his life. In 1970, the track was dropped from the calendar due to safety concerns and crowd control issues. The second life came in 1986, but it was short-lived. Poor asphalt conditions and low safety standards forced F1 to leave again in 1992. The return finally happened in 2015, when Mexico invested in tourism and national pride. The reconstruction project, once again led by Herman Tilke, was brilliant. The track was modernized while keeping its soul. Here, the main secret of the circuit is Foro Sol. To bypass the dangerous Peraltada corner, Tilke made a radical decision. The track no longer runs the full length of the bank turn. Instead, it dives into a new, slow technical section that runs straight through the old Foro Sol baseball stadium. 30,000 fans sit directly above the track, creating an atmosphere like nowhere else in the world. Drivers passing through this sector feel like gladiators entering an arena. But the greatest mystery of the Mexican Grand Prix is invisible to the eye. It's the thin, high-altitude air. Mexico City sits at 2,200 meters above sea level, and the air is so rarefied that engines struggle to breathe. Turbo engines lose about 20% of their power. Aerodynamics suffer, with wings producing around 20% less downforce, Cars have to crank up downforce to the max, yet they are effectively running on minimal grip. It's a nightmare for aerodynamicists and a recipe for overheating. The thin air cools engines poorly and, critically, brakes. Cars feel like they are sliding on ice. This is why a win in Mexico is a triumph not only for the driver, but also for engineers, who managed to find that magical balance between aerodynamics and cooling. The Mexican Grand Prix is a celebration, a podium ceremony full of shouts and colors. It has become even more emotional thanks to Sergio Perez, who became a national hero and cemented the race as one of the most passionate on the calendar. And finally, Brazil. The Interlagos track, officially Autódromo José Carlos Pache, is often called the soul of Formula One. Nestled between lakes, it is more than just asphalt. It's an architectural and cultural monument of motorsport, with a history deeply tied to national pride. The idea for the track was born in the 1930s, during a period of rapid growth in Sao Paulo. Authorities envisioned a new elite suburb called Interlagos, situated between two artificial lakes, Piranga and Billings. The circuit was meant to be the centerpiece, built like European sports parks. The track, originally shaped like a giant figure eight and nearly 8 kilometers long, opened in 1940. It was old school, wide, with extreme elevation changes and treacherous corners, demanding total physical commitment and fearlessness. The post-war period brought Brazil its first motorsport stars. Riding the wave of Emerson Fittipaldi's success, the first Brazilian world champion, fans demanded an F1 race at home. In 1972, the first non-championship race took place at Interlagos, and by 1973, the Brazilian Grand Prix officially joined the calendar. Since then, the track has undergone significant reconstruction. It was shortened, the direction of travel changed, but the unique, old-school character remained. Its main features stand out. First, the Senna S. The famous S-shaped complex running downhill right after the start, named after national hero Ayrton Senna, is perfect for overtakes, with drift on entry. Second, the counterclockwise direction. Most F1 circuits run clockwise, but Interlagos goes against the clock, creating unusual strain on drivers' necks. Third, the elevation and long uphill run to the finish line. The track demands maximum engine output and clean air, making tire choice a lottery at crucial moments. Frequent rains from the Atlantic often turn the race into a tactical duel under the safety car. This is the kingdom of intermediate and wet tires, and teams must be ready for anything. In 1991, Senna won at home for the first time, finishing with a failing gearbox, exhausted and in pain. In 2008, one of the most dramatic title conclusions unfolded. Felipe Massa and Kimi Räikkönen won the race, but just a few corners from the finish, Lewis Hamilton overtook Timo Glock, snatched 5th place, and claimed the championship right in front of the Brazilian fans. Interlagos is guaranteed drama, pure, unbridled passion. So, we've explored 4 incredible F1 stories. Singapore showed how a legend can be reborn in a dazzling night show. Austin proved that to conquer an entire continent, you need to build the perfect home. Mexico demonstrated that fans can turn a race into the hottest national festival. And Brazil reminded us that sometimes a track is the true soul of the sport, where emotions overflow. If you learned something new or just enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Ahead, there's a whole calendar full of legends, secrets, and stories. Write in the comments which track you want to see in the next full breakdown. That's it for today. See you next time.